take a look at this fun Google tool called Tour Builder. This is a way to create stories or presentations and link them to geographical locations on Google Maps and then make that the basis of your presentation. So when you get here, you can take a look. You can you can view a tour, and there are a few. There's a little video here, and there are a few you could take a look at to see what other people have done. But I want to jump right into creating it. And really, I'm only going to create one with a couple of points on it, so you get the idea. Once you know how to do 1 or 2 points and add a few photos, it's pretty self-explanatory, or it's pretty logical to continue it on your own. So what I'm going to do here is just click on this button that says Create a Tour, and I'm going to put in a name. This will be American Music Landmarks, and I'll hit Create Tour. And right from the beginning, it allows me to create my introduction slide and add a photo. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to add in my photo, and I'm just going to try to search for something. I'll do a Google search for, let's just do early blues, since that has a lot to do with American music. See if there's a good image we can put in for that. Let me just kind of scroll through. This might be a good one. I can't really tell. I'm not being super picky, but that's the idea. Now, with right here in my introduction slide, you can see your slides over here. You can think of that as something like a Google slideshow or a PowerPoint. And I can put in a little description of some text that will show when this is shown. And that's pretty much all you have to do for your introduction. Okay, the next thing I want to do is add my first location. So to do that, I'm just going to click on Add Location. And you can search locations by either putting in an address, or if it's a famous enough location and Google Maps recognizes it, you can just put in the name of the place. I'm going to do one of each to show you how both of them work. So for this one, I'm going to start our little tour in Memphis, and I want to go to the Stax Museum, and there it is, Stax Museum of American Soul Music, and it's going to take me over to the location, which is great. Now this puts me on the street, or it puts me from the area, gives me the aerial view. But the beauty of this is that I can take this little guy, if I want, and get a street view. So if I pop him into the street in an appropriate location, there it is. Now and I'm zooming in and out a little bit here, and I'm getting the Stax, the original Stax Studios in Memphis. But I'm going to exit my street view for a second and show you something that's even cooler. Some of these museums and some of these famous buildings have the images of the insides included in the Google database, which makes it great. So if that is actually the case for what you've chosen, I can pop my person right into the museum, and now I'm actually looking at the Stax Museum from the inside, so I can get an internal view. And if I wanted to, I could create several steps in this presentation and really just create a presentation of a tour of the museum, complete with explanations as to what they are. But for this, I'm just going to do this one room. I'm going to click Add to Tour over here to log it and make it part of my presentation. And if I want to add some photos to some things here for Stax, I can do that. So I'm going to go here. Now, the search, Google search, image search doesn't appear in this window for some reason. You have to click on the drop-down menu and go to search for images. And I'm going to type in Stax Records, or maybe Stax Studios. See if there's a picture of the building from the outside, and I can put that in there. So that should go in. There it goes. And I can click this plus sign and keep adding more images, which will actually let me scroll through the images when I present this and have kind of a slideshow that matches to each location. Okay, I can also come down here and give a description for what people are looking at the particular location. And I can get pretty elaborate with this, but in this case I'm only going to type Stax so that you don't have to watch me type. Next, I'm going to just click add location to do my next one. And for this one, I'm going to put in an actual address. So it's one I know, 21, whoops, 21. Yeah, good, that's good. 2120 South Michigan Avenue. Let me get this right. South Michigan Avenue, and that's in Chicago. It pops up there. That's perfect. So it's going to fly me over to Chicago. And in the same way, I can take my guy and drop him in. And let's see if I can get a view of Stack Studios. Let's see, there it is. I can zoom over here on the actual building where rock and roll was born. And there's my view of Stax. So I'm going to click to add that to my tour. And once I do, all I have to do now is I can put in some images. So since I have a picture of the outside of the building, let's get some pictures of some famous Stax artists. So I'm going to click here for search for images. And one famous Stax artist was Muddy Waters. So let's get him in there. Let's take a picture here, and I'm going to scroll, and let's see here. Here I like this one, and then I'll hit select. So I want to add a couple other images to show you what that looks like, particularly from the presentation end when you actually show this. So I'm going to add another one here, and I'm going to search for another artist. I'm going to search for Howlin' Wolf. Should be a good picture of Wolf popping up here. I like this one, and I'll hit select. And let me do one more, and this time I'm not going to add an image, I'm going to add a video. Now, of course, you know, if you have images on your computer or in your Google Drive, you can put those in as easily, but I'm going to click over here and do search YouTube, and I'm going to look for another famous chess artist, Bo Diddley. And let's see if there's any videos of him coming up. The images load. You can preview them from here, and you know, they show you the time in them, which I like, because if you're looking for something short, look, this one's only 2 minutes. Let's use this one. And I'll hit select. And technically, this is all you need to know to continue building your own presentation using Tour Builder. So I'm going to click Done Editing. And I'm done editing. So here are my slides. Of course, you'd probably want to make something with a few more than that, but that's the idea. Now I'm going to go over here and show you what it looks like to present it. So I'm going to play full screen. And when I do that, this is going to be full screen of your browser. And I started on my last slide, so I'm going to hit back. So let me show you the presentation. Look at this little path line that this puts in. And this would be a little more interesting if I had a few more points in here. You'd see the path going all over the US, really. But right now it's only connecting the 2 points. You can change the colors to that. There are preferences to change the colors or omit it completely if you like. That's something I'll cover in a later video. But for now, just keep in mind that it gets created. Now, if I hit next in my presentation, it's going to take me to my spots, and it shows me where everything is, and here are my photos. You can also see my description, which isn't too elaborate, but there it is. And then here's another one, and this takes me to Chicago, flies me right up there. And if I take my images to open up my image gallery for each of these points, I can scroll through the images, and of course I can also play my YouTube video. Now, if I want to get out of here, I can just open up my menu over here on the left by clicking these arrows, go back to my introduction, and then I can click Exit Full Screen. If I click on my sharing, I can get a shareable link. I will have to make sure to change my settings from private to anyone who has the link, and hit done. And there are some other export options and whatnot that you can do with it, but you know, this is basically the idea. This link can be placed into a web page or whatever to link to something. It could be emailed to somebody. It could be collected into a Google form by a teacher, so that if all the students have to present these or create these, the teacher can collect them via a Google form. And that's really all you need to get started. Have a good time with it.